Hello and welcome to my podcast. Do me a favor, subscribe to the John Keim Report wherever you get your podcasts. If you're watching on YouTube, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. You can find us there as part of Ampire Media, Ampire. Always much appreciated when you tune in. Don't forget, you can read my work on ESPN.com. Also, the John Keim Report is presented by AAA. And don't forget, my friends at Chubby's, $10 off. Go to chubbyshorts.com. You can use the password Keim, get $10 off, and you can see that you can get one of these shirts. They also have shorts. They have bathing suits with Commanders logos. Find what you want, folks, at chubbyshorts.com. Use the code Keim, Keim. All right, so in a minute, I'll be joined by Jordan Raanan, who covers the Giants, of course, for ESPN. One of my favorite guests because Jordan is always honest, always entertaining, and gives good insight into the Giants. Also asked him about what he thinks about the Commanders. I think you'll probably like his answer. And why wouldn't you? Because they're coming off a really good year and they still have number 5 at quarterback. So stay tuned for that in a minute. But before I go there, just a few things, starting with for you Gold members, going to be doing the private Zoom for you on Friday night at 7:30 Eastern time. So look for the link look for the link coming soon. Also, if you want to become a club member, go to the Ampire Media YouTube page, see the word join, click on that, go from there. I will also be doing a private chat for selected club members on Sunday mornings, or actually on game day. So this week it'll be Sunday, approximately 10 a.m. The link will have the time on there. So look for it around in the 10 a.m. range. I'll be in the press box. So I'll give you whatever scene you want to know. And at that point, whatever fantasy help, maybe some questions you have, or just some last minute questions about the game. And hopefully I can provide a lot of help. And we won't know inactives yet at that point, but I will obviously know a lot of things that I can perhaps shed some insight into. So anyway, join me for that every game day, about 3 hours or so before the game. Today was I'm taping this on Tuesday, so it was the depth chart release day. So always noteworthy. So there are a couple things that jump out from the Commanders depth chart that they released today as their unofficial depth chart entering the season opener against the Giants. Starting with Josh Connolly listed as a starting right tackle. This should not be a surprise given that he was their first round pick. However, they definitely made him earn the job. He was working behind, Andrew Wiley most of the summer with the ones. And then one thing that actually probably helped him is Brandon Coleman going down with the injury. Not that helped the line, but maybe it helped. I think it gave Connolly a lot more reps with the starters because you had Wiley going over to left guard a lot. So Wiley became their versatile chess piece along the line, but that gave Connolly way more reps with the starters and just more and more work against starters. So that I think helped, because I will say this, like from the time of that joint practice against the Patriots to the end of the camp, I felt like he was, I don't know about maybe the most improved player, but maybe the most noticeable improvement, because early on, you would see him lose some reps against some of these pass rushers with Jacob Martin, Von Miller. Even still with Von Miller, we get him, but Von Miller gets a lot of people. So that's not a knock. But you would see him get off balance. You would see him, just needing to maybe learn to react quicker with his feet. And so like there were things to work on, and he got better. And that's impressive. So he is, is he a finished product? Well, no, but is he good enough to start? He certainly looked like it, and his blocking in space was really, really good. So and I talked about this after each of the preseason games that he played, just how good he looked, and you could see it. And it wasn't just at the line; it was getting downfield in the blocks, but it was definitely starting at the line. He did a really nice job, and so he has earned that start. It's going to be a tough one on Sunday because of the Giants line, but we'll get into more of that throughout the week. So that's one thing. And then at right guard, the starter was listed as Allegretti or Andrew Wiley. So again, Allegretti has spent most of the summer working there, but Wiley is a guy that they really trust, and he can bounce around. This camp, he has played right tackle, left guard, and then left tackle. So, going to right guard is not going to be a huge adjustment for him. And to be honest, in some ways, it could help Connolly because you got a guy who's played tackle playing right next to you who can also point some things out to you. Wiley is a very, very good pro. And I mean that in that just the way his approach, how he is with teammates, how he is with everybody, he is a professional. And so, I don't think he's going to be a guy like clearly he wants to be playing, but I think he's always handled his situation well, which would help, which would, lead him to obviously to help others around him as well. So obviously, if you're on the field, I would expect that. but I do think he's someone that is a valuable piece for them because of that versatility. So the other one was Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt was listed as the fourth running back. And, I've talked about this on here. Can they keep four running backs active on game day? Typically, people don't always listen to everything I have to say. They hear parts of it and then extrapolate. All I'm saying is that there's in the past, teams typically keep three running backs active. It's hard to keep four active unless they all can play special teams. And that's one reason why you can look at it and say perhaps they can keep all four active. And who that would be the odd man out, I don't know. But you look at the depth chart, Krosky-Merritt was listed as fourth. There, so we will see what happens. You could see all of them having a role. I would also note it's damn near impossible to get four running backs action during the game from scrimmage. So especially with a team that has Jaden Daniels as a guy who can run, and then also a receiver in Deebo Samuel who could carry the ball a couple times during a game. So, anyways, that was one of the other interesting parts on there. But I didn't take that as a big surprise just based on how they've been working. Clearly, Eckler is going to be a guy that's going to get his touches, and we know what he's done. And then Jeremy McNichols, they love him on special teams. They like him in the backup role. And then Rodriguez had a really good summer, and so did Krosky-Merritt. I think Rodriguez had a really strong summer and jumped out in each of those games and has done things to improve his play. So I don't know that any one guy is going to be the main guy every week for them. This really has felt, and they have said, and what I've heard is more running back by committee. And I think that will play out this season. So, anyways, folks, that's all I have to say. Got nothing. Oh, by the way, Kendrick Bourne did visit on Tuesday. He worked out for them. One thing that we know is that he hadn't practiced with New England from October 1st till the time he was released on August 1st. When then he was released on August 27th, had not practiced at that time. He got rolled up on during a practice. So clearly they want to see if he's what kind of, where he's at with his health. But the other thing is to note here too, if you're Kendrick Bourne, he went to San Francisco. He knows that place very well, but the Niners really weren't going to have a strong role for him because they have some guys hurt, but those guys are all coming back and they would be ahead of him after several weeks. Well, I think you can look at it here and say, okay, where at best he'd be their fourth receiver at best. So, and even then, like, okay, you have Jalen Lane. So, and Jalen Lane has some speed. He can offer some things. So is Kendrick Bourne going to be an automatic number 4 every week? Well, I don't know that they could promise that. And I think when you're Kendrick Bourne, you're looking for opportunities as well. So that if he doesn't sign here, clearly Washington had interest, they brought him in. Clearly he had interest, he visited here. So, but I think that opportunity could be a factor as to why, if he doesn't sign here, that could be part of the reason for sure, because clearly, again, there was interest. But anyway, folks, just want to pass it along. So if there's an update before you get this, or if there's an update, it'll be out on Twitter and on ESPN.com. Anyway, all right, that's it for me. Here's my conversation with ESPN's Jordan Raanan talking about Sunday's opponent, the New York Giants. Football is here, folks. Let's go. All right, Jordan. Always a fun time having you on. Fans love you. You know that. Big changes for the Giants, right? Like this camp seemed to be for a New York team rather optimistic. How would you describe the sense of optimism for the Giants going into the season?
Yeah, I think people feel better about this team, right? They were so demoralized last year. And now you at least have something where you can like hold your hat on, right? It's their defense. It's the defensive line, the defensive front. You can see a path to being a really good defense, right? You have Brian Burns, who's an excellent Pro Bowl player, caliber player, Dexter Lawrence, who's an All-Pro player in the middle, Kayvon Thibodeau, who's a solid player. I mean, if you go about what he'd done against Washington over the years, he'd be a Pro Bowl player. And then they're adding Abdul Carter now to that mix, right? Number 3 overall pick. Guy looks like he's going to be a significant factor. In the meantime, because they have those other two guys on the edge, you're going to see him all over the field. But if the Giants can get into third and long situations, third down situations, have the lead once in a while, this is a defense that's going to do a lot of damage. Their front seven in general is pretty good. I mean, Bobby Okereke and Micah McFadden are solid inside linebackers. So this is a defense that could be pretty good. They also signed two quality starters on the back end in Paulson Adebo, a cornerback from the Saints, and Javon Holland from the Miami Dolphins, a safety. So maybe they're not star players, but they at least are proven players. Whereas last year, the Giants had a secondary field of guys that you could just exploit left and right. So that is what you can hang your hat on. And then, as you know, it's always nice to have a rookie quarterback, John. And it may not be Jaden Daniels, may not be the number 2 overall pick, but there's hope that Jackson Dart can be that guy. Probably, well, Washington won't see him week 1.
Right.
Who knows when we'll see him? But there's hope that that can be the guy. And in the meantime, Russell Wilson's there to at least provide serviceable play to make sure it doesn't turn into a disaster, which it turned into last year.
With Jackson, I'll get to Russell in a minute because he is the guy that Washington's going to be facing. But what were some of the biggest reasons for hope that you saw with him this summer?
Athletic, talented. He's tough. Like he actually didn't slide and took a big hit and had to go get checked for a concussion in the last preseason game. But that just shows you the kind of mentality that he's bringing. He's a tough guy. He's exposed. Everyone raves about him behind the scenes. He has the word that a lot of guys use for me. He has that moxie. He just he has that coolness to him, that coolness factor. That gamer type thing. A lot of people call it the it factor, or whatever you want to call it. He seems to have that, so it gives you hope that, all right. I mean, first of all, I mean, if you watch the guy and you see what he did in the preseason, it's hard to not at least
Right.
come away thinking, well, he has a chance,
Right.
to be good. And I think that hope alone is good for a team that really hasn't been in good shape at the quarterback position now since late in the Eli Manning era, which let's figure like 2018. So like we're 7 years past that point where they kind of have been stabilized at quarterback.
Boy, 7 years, such a long time, huh? It's, I got,
Nothing for Commanders fans. Wait, hold on. Let's address the big factor, the elephant in the room first. What is it about Commander fans that I am such a favorite, I should say, in air quotes?
I forget. You said something last year that people enjoyed, so
Uh,
I was
eh,
someone early in the season about maybe how I don't even honestly I don't remember. I
I
just know
probably
that
wasn't a big fan of their offensive line and their defense last year. And
maybe it was something. It was funny, and so but
eh,
that's but with quarterback Russell Wilson, how has he looked? What is he adding here?
the Giants sit there and rave. He's adding leadership, leadership, leadership. We'll see how that plays out. That's not. I don't know how much that factors onto the field. What you see from Russell Wilson is kind of what he's been the last couple of years. So a lot of dump, 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 deep ball. Like that's what he is, right? Like that.
Yeah,
He's not going to throw the ball in the middle of the field. He's never done that, right? He can't move around like he used to. We haven't seen it yet, but we'll see what happens when the lights come on and the pressure's coming constantly. But the MO has been he holds onto the ball too long. We'll see if that's the case, then this Giants offense will be in a little trouble. I think this Giants offense though is going to be a run heavy unit, especially early in the season. Like,
really.
yeah, they're gonna look. They aren't the greatest offensive line. We don't know about the status of Andrew Thomas. He's still, in a race against time to make it for
Right.
week 1. He's their best offensive lineman, their left tackle. You take him out, that line is questionable at best. So that's definitely a concern. But Russell Wilson, he still throws the ball well. He still has that respect of everybody. Look, he's won a Super Bowl, right? He's done a
Right.
lot of things. I think he's a 10-time Pro Bowler. So when a 10-time Pro Bowler steps into the huddle, you listen to what he says. He works hard. He does the right things in that regard. So these are all things that they hope rub off on everyone else in the locker room. As a player, is he going to carry you? I think the answer is pretty clear at this point of his career. It's no. He's on his fourth team in 5 years. If you're a really high-end quarterback still, you're not on your fourth team in 5 years. It's that simple. They replaced the Pittsburgh Steelers replace him with 42-year-old Aaron Rodgers,
Yeah.
okay, who's been up and down at best the last couple of years. So it tells you where Russell Wilson is at this point of his career. But can he provide some stability? That's what the Giants are hoping that they see from him. And so far, so good, but they haven't played a game yet.
The other thing, because like as you said, he can still throw the deep ball. So you have Malik Neighbors. What's that connection look like, and what are you expecting there?
Yeah, you're expecting Malik Neighbors to get the ball a lot. He's a really,
He's good.
dynamic player. He's awesome. He's the only weapon on the Giants. If you look at that, I'm sure if you're looking at it, John, you're saying, who do we have to watch? Who
Right.
scares us? It's Malik Neighbors. Like who else? Like Darius Slayton's a quality wide receiver. He could have his big games. Tyrone Tracy, okay, he had a good rookie year. He looks like he could be a quality starting running back. But these aren't the Theo Johnson at tight end. These aren't guys that scare you. It's Malik
Right.
Neighbors that
Right.
scares you, that you have to watch out for. And the ball is going to go to Malik Neighbors early and often. Like he's the guy. So he's going to get the ball plenty, whether it's deep down the sidelines, whether it's you know working short, quick passes. Like it's going to be Malik Neighbors. It'll be interesting to see how Washington tries to stop him in that regard.
And what do you, because obviously the one thing I wonder about him is he's had a lot of minor injuries, right? And so, but I don't, doesn't sound like it's going to affect him in this game, but what are some of the areas where maybe he's gotten better this year? And, is there anything that you noticed this summer from him that's even a little bit different from last year?
Yeah, just the way he runs his routes seems a little bit crisper. I mean, he always ran good routes, but last year there were times, I mean, Darius Slayton seemed to be lining him up at times and
Right.
telling him what to do. You just get the feeling that this is his second year. He's more in tune with what's going on, what needs to be done. Rookies, sometimes it's just such a
Right.
whirlwind. You felt like that at times with him last year, but he was just so talented, it didn't matter. Now it feels like there's more attention to detail, and that's where Russ kind of comes into the equation also with being able to help guys and refine routes and timing and stuff like that kind of stuff. And you see it with Neighbors, and you see the results there with Neighbors. But John, he's just very talented, man. The dude is super
It's,
talented. He
yeah,
makes it look so easy. Like it doesn't look like he's doing anything special. When guys are better than everyone else,
yeah,
that's
yeah.
just how it looks. And he had a really good summer, but he was banged up. So we'll see. I think he's just going to be that kind of guy that's always banged up but always plays. I think that's just sort of going to be, every
Yeah.
you have those guys over the years. It's just he's always going to be banged up. You just be like, you know what, he'll be fine. This is just a minor thing, and he'll sit
To
out a
me,
couple days here, a couple of days there, and on game day it won't be a big deal. I think that's where we're at with Malik Neighbors. I don't think it's anything you look at and say, oh, he's going to be slowed down in week one against the Commanders in any way, shape, or form.
he's impressive because he can do it from a multiple spots, and it's not like you know what I mean. Like they move him around a lot. It seems just to get him the ball.
He could really do anything. That's the beauty of him. Like he could play out of the slot. He could work the short to intermediate routes. He could catch deep balls. He's great tracking the ball. Going up and getting it. Like, you name it. Like he's good at it. So yeah.
By the way, what you asked like what Redskins or Washington fans, I should say. Um, we had the second podcast I did with you. The headline was something about Giants reporter on apology. So, but I think it was something that you had said in the first one that clearly rankled some people. I just don't remember what it was. So, but if people want to listen, they can go back and
Yeah.
download it. If they want to do that. With how about Andrew Thomas? And you brought him up earlier. Like, he missed a lot of camp. What are you expecting from him, and then the offensive line in general? Because that's always been kind of a bugaboo there.
So as of right now, Andrew Thomas has not taken part in team drills for the New York Giants. We're sitting here. We're taping this on Tuesday afternoon. Okay, so today is an off day. Wednesday, they get on the field. They'll have a real practice. If he's not on the field tomorrow in team drills, he hasn't done it all summer. He started the summer on pup. He just got activated. He just started doing individual drills. He got in one-on-one last week in one-on-one drills. If you don't do any team drills, John, you got to sort of work your way up a little bit,
Right.
ramp it up a little bit. It's going to be really tough for him to be ready, and they're not going to force him out there. And he's talked already about saying, I'm not going to go out there unless I feel I could really play at the level that I want to play at. And he's, at his best, he's an all-pro type player.
Right.
Uh, it's been two injury-filled seasons. Even if he does play, I can't imagine Andrew Thomas is going to be playing at an all-pro level week one. It's been he's coming off a Liz Frank surgery. Had uh, a cleanup sort of deal earlier this year. So you know, foot injuries with big guys can be problematic. So it's definitely a concern for the Giants moving forward. And also, they're not going to risk it. They shouldn't risk it. At least I shouldn't say they're not going to do anything. This this regime has done some things that have been mind-boggling for several years. So anything is always on the table. But you would think they're not going to risk Andrew Thomas and push him out there for a week one game when maybe he barely had practice time or he's not really ready. There's a 16 games remaining in the
Right.
season. That would be probably the wrong. They've seen how valuable he is. They can't afford to just, you know, this isn't the Super Bowl. This is week one. So I think they'll be on the cautious side with this one.
How's the rest of the line looking then? With if with well, regardless of with him, like how's that? What do you think of the line?
Same as last year. It's the same guys, right? It's going to
Right.
be from right to left. Jermaine Illuminor is a quality right tackle. Greg Van Roten's a veteran who's serviceable at right guard. John Michael Schmidt's a young center who has struggled his first 2 years. And John Runyon Jr. at left guard is a quality guard. Now, left tackle, if it's not Andrew Thomas, they signed James Hudson, veteran, started games for the Browns, a guy you can, get by with for a game or two here or there, probably. He's a scrapper, plays physical, starts fights every day in practice, like training camp, headbutts people all over. Like that's kind of his personality. Like he's that kind of guy. Like he could scrap his way through a week or two. You hope. So they're in better shape than they were last year with regards to the backup position. They also have a young guy, fifth round pick, who's looked impressive at Marcus Bowe. I don't think they would start him at left tackle. You never know. There's a slim possibility if Andrew Thomas can't play. But so as you could see, it's some average guys, and without Andrew Thomas, it's a bunch of some average guys and a couple below average guys. That doesn't equate to that. That's an area you look. If you're the Commanders, you say, if that's the line they're putting out there, we have to take advantage of that.
By the way, started games for the Browns is not always a great resume note. So
Yeah, exactly, exactly. Let me tell you, Browns fans were not high on James Hudson Jr. James
no,
Hudson the third, I should say.
yeah, no. So overall, then, like, if you're looking at this team, obviously a disaster last year. How much better do you think they are or could be? Could they be a surprise team because of that defense, or do you think like they're still, need a bit more?
They what surprised him? Can they be like 7, 8, 9 wins if everything goes perfect? Yeah, I think that's their range. They're not like, okay, they could surprise and win 10, 11, 12 games. I don't see that being a scenario. Uh, unless Jackson Dart comes in and plays like Jaden Daniels last year,
Right,
right?
right.
That's that's the scenario where you turn it around. You have the quarterback who's the answer to all your woes and cures everything that basically you've been lacking for years. So
Yeah.
I guess that's possible, but yeah, the defense will keep them in games. They could steal some games here or there. I think being around the 500 team is feasible, but they're going to have trouble consistently moving the ball. It's going to be a little bit of slog on offense at times for this team. Now they could have games where Russell Wilson comes out and plays well. I think that's certainly within the cards, right? Russell Wilson is a Pro Bowl, All Pro type player early in his career. There are weeks where he's going to play well. He has that in him. So, yeah, they could surprise some people. I don't think they're going to compete for the division. I don't see that. And as you know, the schedule's super tough.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
the whole division, the whole division, everyone has to play the NFC North, which is loaded, and the AFC West, which is loaded. So there's 8 games that are super hard. Then you got the six in the division, you're at 14. So you really only have three others. And the Giants' three others are San Francisco, who happened to finish in last place, so that's no break because they're going to be healthier. New England, who's going to at least be better.
Right.
I mean, who do the Commanders have? They have an
Oh,
AFC East team.
they have. Oh God, now you're drawing a blank
Do
on.
they have the Jets
They
or
have.
the Jets, Bills, or who's the other team in the division? Why am I drawing a blank?
They
The
they have.
Dolphins.
They have Atlanta. They have. Oh my God, now I'm drawing a blank here. Hold on one second, because I now
They
this is
have Atlanta, the Cardinals, or the
yeah, yeah.
Seahawks.
They have Seattle, because that's a Monday night game here.
That's the two for the second place. You
Yeah,
get
yeah,
Seattle,
yeah. And
and
then
then who's the extra AFC game? Like the
it is
17th game.
the 17th game.
Dolphins.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you. Yeah. Yeah.
So they get the Dolphins. I mean, I'd almost rather fit the Giants. Actually, if I'm finishing in last, it might be even
Yeah.
worse. I mean, the Patriots could easily be better than the Dolphins this year.
Right. And but yeah, they have the Dolphins in Madrid too. So that's the one.
And the
So yeah.
Giants one game that did work out is the last place because they finished in last place.
Right.
The NFC South, they get the Saints. So that's the one game that they're actually right now people would say they're favored in. It's the only
Yeah.
game on the schedule is that Saints game. So very tough schedule. It's going to be hard. I think the whole NFC East win totals are going to be on the lower side
Agreed.
because I mean, there's not going to be and there's not a lot of easy games there unless a
No,
bunch of quarterbacks get injured in the AFC West or NFC North.
for sure. And then, so last thing, how are you viewing Washington coming off last year and just what they have with Jaden, but also the rest of the roster? How do you, and I know you probably haven't studied this roster, from too much, but like, how are you viewing this team and how is New York viewing this team going into the season?
Yeah, I look at it as actually they're an improved roster. But the way I see it also is even though they might be an improved team, it might not mean that they're better or they get further, right? They made
Right.
the NFC Championship, so the bar is so stinking high. It's almost like there might be a natural regression just by accident, by like we just said, not everything good. Like they won a couple games last year, and I hope Commander fans might get insulted by this, but they won a couple games last year, which were, you know,
The
yeah,
Bears game, I mean,
a
come
lot
on.
of things went in your favor. The Bears
Yes.
game, the Giants game where they had no kicker was an
Yeah.
interesting one. Could have easily gone either way. I know that the Commanders didn't punt in the game, so they were
Right.
definitely they could have scored more points. But when they
Right.
kick, I think they kicked 6 field goals in the game,
Yep.
right?
They did.
And the Giants were kind of hamstrung because their kicker got injured on the
Right.
opening kickoff.
Right.
And actually, they played their kicker in the first place, knowing that he had an injury that he was coming into the week with. I mean, there was just look, it happened to the Giants in 2022. They were so good, but everything went in their favor. And we kind of like, well, natural regression there. Everything's not going to bounce their way in the next year. And it fell apart for them. I'm not saying things are going to fall apart for the Commanders because they still have Jaden Daniels. So I don't expect that to happen. I expect them to be very good. It doesn't mean they're going to make the NFC Championship game.
Right.
But you do see that, okay, they added their offensive line is now better.
Yeah.
Adding a player like Laramie Tunsil makes you significantly better, right? Now it gives you a high-end player over there on the left side, and it takes a lot of pressure off the other pieces on the line, the weaker links. Then you could then spend more time helping the weaker links out on the
Right.
offensive
Right.
line. So and look, they're a veteran team. I saw that they were actually one of the oldest teams in the league, which is
Yeah,
interesting.
they are. It
Uh,
is. That speaks to the lot of failed draft classes, not just picks, but classes from the previous regime. And there's no like they have old and they have a lot of good young players, not a lot in the middle. So the middle class, so to speak, in terms of age, is missing. So, but they have
right.
again 30 and
But I
above.
still I still see them as a double digit winning
Yeah, me
team.
too.
Like so I still think they're and that's because Jaden Daniels is awesome and he's really good. Now, even though he's awesome and really good, I could see him also having a little bit of regression just because he was so amazing last year. Like doesn't mean he'll be bad. Like it happened to CJ Stroud. I kind of consider that them like remember CJ Stroud's rookie year was off the charts.
Yeah,
Last year he was good. He wasn't the best player in the league
right.
anywhere. People kind of fell off the bandwagon a little bit. But at least I do think it matters that Jaden Daniels has a better offensive line. So that gives him a way better chance of succeeding here.
Yeah.
So, and better weapons, adding a player like Debo, Tunsil, Von Miller. It's like they fine tune. So I still think they're a good team. Doesn't mean I think they'll probably go as far
Right.
as they did
Yeah.
last
And I
year.
think that's,
So
I
as
think
an
that's
outside perspective, I think that's where we stand. I
Yeah,
stand at least.
yeah, and I think that's a pretty fair assessment of them because like it is a tougher schedule. So just like you said for the whole NFC East, getting the championship game, once you get to the playoffs, then it's flip the coin, right? Because a lot of things can happen. You've seen some weird runs in the playoffs, so that's a hard thing. But
Yeah.
I think you consider them a playoff team for sure. I
If
think
you if you tell me the NFC East winner won 11 games, wouldn't be stunned.
no, me
Like
either.
I think that's a reasonable take because everyone's going to be coming and gunning for the Eagles, right? They're not as deep. The Commanders also like they're an older team. We'll see. They got to keep these guys on the field. It won't be super easy. And then the schedule's so difficult. And then Dallas obviously took a hit when you trade Micah Parsons before the season starts. And you probably should have done that in April if you wanted to be as good this year. So that's a natural hit for them. Now I still think they're going to be good and dangerous. Their offense
Yeah,
is still pretty good at, but we'll see. I think the Giants and Commanders probably hope they implode. But yeah, uh, 11 might be a good number in the NFC East this year.
I agree. I also wonder, Saquon's ability to duplicate last year is going to be awfully difficult because it was such an awesome year that it's hard to do that again. So,
And he, look at his track record. Like he
right.
hasn't stayed healthy, in consecutive seasons. It's hard at that position to stay
Very,
healthy.
very.
So, yeah, I'm not saying he's going to get injured, but
No, it's hard.
yeah, it's hard to stay healthy. You get banged up in this league. He could get banged up at some point. Their offensive line has already taken hits with Landon Dickerson getting banged up. Look, everyone it's gonna be hard to go through the season and dominate considering the opponents that they have facing them. So
For sure. All right, Jordan. Thanks a lot, man. See you Sunday. That's it for this episode. Thanks to Jordan for joining me, and thank you, as always, for tuning in. I'll be back on Thursday with another episode, so I'll talk to you next time.